Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Mr. Tomlinson here, we've got Miss Shiston, we've got Mr. Geedon as well behind us. Thank you for coming along. Now, what we're hoping to do is just share with you a little bit about kind of what we're doing, what we're up to, and just give you a bit of information about year one and what year one looks like for your children. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a presentation, so bear with me a moment and I should be able to share that with you. Okay, so you should now all be able to see the presentation in front of you. What we'll do is we'll work through each of these slides. Should you have any questions, there is a chat function along the screen. If you hover over it, it's kind of almost like a little speech bubble that's got some lines. If you click on there, if you have any questions during the meeting, type them in there, and at the end we will try and go through and answer as many as we can. Okay. So first of all, welcome to the Year 1 Parent Forum meeting. The first thing that I'll get Ms. Tristan to talk about is our eyes, our end of year expectations.
So these are usually kept in the front of their English and their maths books, and we also have them for reading, and they are used to assess the progress throughout the year. So they are aspects of the learning that by the end of the year the children should be able to do. So it's a target for the end of year one, and it's things that they need to be working towards. And as we see evidence of it, especially in their maths and their English books and in their read write ink lessons for reading, we start to evidence them. So that's what the eyes are for.
Yeah, so if you hear us or your children ever talking about eyes, just so you understand, it means end of year expectation, because we're quite keen for the children to be aware of what their target is. So we might be saying to them, right, the eyes that you're going to work on are these particular ones. Writing, to use a capital in a sentence, or another child one of their eyes might be to use a conjunction. So a conjunction is a joining word, for example, and. So your children may come and talk to you about their eyes, and just so you know, it's not about the eyes on their head, it's about their learning. Okay, so then we move on to reading. So with reading, just so that you know, and I'm sure you've become familiar with our kind of routines at the moment. So we're changing books every Monday. However, if you're if you finish those books that you've already been given for that week, there is a box that we have in our cloakroom which the children can then change to get another book. Ideally, we would really love your child to be able to read with you at home 4 times a week. Even if it's just for 5 to 10 minutes, we just find that having that regular opportunity to read at home with you really helps with their kind of comprehension skills, and also with their confidence too. In kind of relation to their reading, your child will receive a sticker on their bookmark every Friday if they've managed to achieve this. The best way for you to let us know that you've read with your child is by writing in their reading log. So if you could do that and just initial that you've read, you don't need to write too much. You could just, just a couple of words, just let us know how they got on, is more than enough. And then there are prizes for those children who manage to fill up their bookmark with their stickers. Usually we would love for parents to come in and to volunteer as readers, but unfortunately, as you can understand, with the current situation, we're not able to have readers in at this time. We're very hopeful later on in next year, all things being well, we'll be able to do that. If you are interested in becoming a volunteer reader, we will send out some kind of information about it, should that be possible.
So you might have already, well, you probably should have already seen that we've been giving out homework every 2 weeks, and that's the Maths Family Toolkit. So it goes home in their green books, in their book bags, or if they haven't brought their green book in, then we send it home on a piece of paper, and that's every 2 weeks. Another part of the homework is the reading up to 4 times or more if possible, and also really focusing on building the children's independence, because we're trying to encourage them to be as independent as possible at school, getting their things ready, whether that be for home time or getting themselves changed for PE, getting ready to go out for break time if it's cold weather, putting hats and gloves on, really encouraging them to do things for themselves, because obviously there are up to 30 children in each class and only 2 or 3 adults, so they really need to be able to do things for themselves.
Yeah. So that leads on to Google Classroom. So you should have had some information arrive to you in the last kind of couple of weeks, all about Google Classrooms and about what that is. So you should have a login. There's a slip. I think Mr. Geedon has got a slip. So everybody should have a. I'll cover that up. Should have a slip like this. It has their kind of login details. If you find that you've misplaced that login slip, or you're needing support with getting a new one, do let us know by contacting the school office. It's not always possible for us to kind of have that conversation with you during drop off and pick up because of the nature of the way in which we have to work with the COVID situation of kind of leaving quickly and efficiently. So if you do have issues with the Google Classroom, do email the office and we can get that sorted with you as soon as we can. And I think that's everything. Let's go to the slide. Okay, uniform. Do you want me to do uniform?
I can do.
Yeah.
So the school uniform, so I'm sure you're all aware of the uniform, but just to recap, just in case you're not sure, the school jumper has got to have the school logo on. Now we've noticed that some children have been coming in with jumpers and cardigans without. We sort of let that go for the first term, but now we will start to sort of ask you to send your child in with a school jumper or cardigan with the logo on. If they haven't got one, we will be asking them to take them off because it's not school uniform. We have got spares here that we can give them, but if there's any issue with that, or you've ordered a jumper and you're waiting for it, that's fine, just let us know.
Yeah.
School shoes need to be black and flat. The trousers, skirt or dress need to be grey in colour. All children need to have a PE kit in school at all times. We do have PE on a Friday, however, sometimes it can change, so just to keep one in at all times would be great. So that's a white t-shirt, black shorts and plimp soles or trainers. I mean, obviously at the moment we are outside a lot, so if you wanted to send in jogging bottoms or a jumper to go outside, that is fine as well. And we would ask you all to please send your child in with a water bottle every day with their name on it, with water in it. So we've got a few children coming in with squash in their water bottles, or flavoured water. It's got to be water, please. And just make sure that all your child's belongings have got their name on, because we've obviously got 60 of everything. It's easy for things to get mislaid, and if it's got a name on, it's much easier to return. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely. And just going back to the uniform, if you find that everyone's got different circumstances, if you're struggling to purchase uniform because it is rather expensive, you can contact the school office, because we do have the Friends Committee, which is a bit like our school PTA, and they do have a range of uniform that's been donated to school in really great condition. So actually, if you do need some access to some uniform, then just ping an email to the school office and then we'll be happy to sort that for you. Okay, so drop off and pick up. So first of all, just thank you to everybody in regards to adhering to the kind of the current situation with our kind of picking up and dropping off. We know that there's been some challenges, but we really appreciate the fact everyone's taking on board what we're needing to do. It's forever changing, the guidance, as you can appreciate. So I just wanted to start by saying thank you. So as you will know, teachers will meet and greet your child during that 8:30 to 8:45 period at the classroom door. We'll continue to follow the COVID guidelines for the school, as Mr. Brown has shared in his previous emails and correspondence to you. If you do have any questions about your child during the drop off and the pickup, because I know there are things that come up, that requires a longer conversation, if you could email the office and then share your concerns or what your questions are, we will then get back to you within the school day. If it's just simply that your child's been a little bit unwell in the night and just to keep an eye, then that's fine. But we have to try and avoid having any lengthy conversations during those key pickup times wherever possible. Finally, we just wanted to say thank you very much. And as I've said, you know, this is a really challenging time for everybody. One thing that we've found is that the children have settled really, really well. So we've been very, very impressed with the children. You know, they're so resilient. I think as adults and parents, we do all the worrying for them. But just thank you for your understanding and support. If you have any questions in the box chat box now, we're going to go through them. And if you go away and think, oh, I forgot to ask that question, then do just ping it into an email to the office, and we'll try and answer that either through the school newsletter, or we can always email you back. So I'm going to go over to the chat area. This is where you can pop your questions in. It's okay. So Mr. Geaton's kindly answered one there already. So yeah, feel free to ping in some questions if you have any questions.
What do you say about our topic this term?
Yeah.
Our topic this term is what does gunpowder have to do with fireworks? So any knowledge or any books around that topic would be very useful, which would be lovely to have in. Normally we would ideally have parents or anyone with expertise come in, but if you could or have any interest in that, we could still have some sort of maybe a Skype conversation and have it in interaction that way. So any expertise is always welcome. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to answer that one about maths? What we're doing at the moment?
So it's time now. So at the moment we've been starting with some simple addition. So it's been one more, one less, and going with that and doubling. We're moving on to time towards the end of term, and any revision over 2D and 3D shapes would be welcome, and continue counting with 2s, 5s and 10s.
Long-term plans on the website.
And the long-term plan is on the website for the maths, so you will be able to see where we're going with things in the next couple of terms.
So in regards to the time, my understanding is that we look at o'clock. So we're looking at the times that are o'clock, so 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, etc. And we're also looking at past as well. Yeah. So that's where we start with in terms of time. Ooh, I'll just have a look at a couple more questions. Yeah, so in terms of the parents' evening, so obviously, ideally, this would have been your first kind of formal parents' evening face-to-face, but as you understand, because of the current restrictions, that's not possible. However, in speaking as a senior leadership team, we're very much hoping we can offer a face-to-face parents' evening in the spring term. So there will be some information to follow, but that is our hope, that we'll be able to have face-to-face. And if not face-to-face, then it will definitely be through this medium of one-on-one through virtual Teams meetings, yes. Any more questions? Fireworks play.
So they were learning about the gunpowder plot, and so with that we kind of reenacted with masks, so Guy Fawkes, the King, and some of the guards about all the events which happened around the gunpowder plot, and kind of did either freeze frames or little scenes which they got recorded, which I think they quite enjoyed. I don't know about your class, but
yeah, we did that last week and they enjoyed that. Yeah.
So it was only just little things in the class, really, just kind of reiterate the learning which we've been doing in the class.
In regards to emailing about how your child is doing. If it's something that you're if there's a particular question that you've got that you're concerned about, or something focused in that sense, then do email. If it's just generally how they're getting on, if it's okay, we want to kind of leave that until we have our spring face-to-face meeting. But do email any specific question that you've got or concern, then we will be happy to answer. Well, that's a really good question. So one of our real focuses at the moment in year one is about getting children to be able to write a basic simple sentence. And within that, they need to know at this point that a sentence needs a capital letter at the beginning and it needs a full stop at the end. And we talk a lot about finger spacing. So the idea that you write a word and you leave a finger space, you write a word so that their writing isn't all kind of mushed up together. Sometimes our children have great ideas, they get writing, and then when it comes back to them having to read it to check it makes sense, they really struggle because it's all kind of pushed together and squashed. So anything you can do around using finger spacing and kind of using that kind of talk of say a sentence, you're going to say your sentence, we're going to hold it in our head, and then we're going to have a go at writing it using the sounds that they know. Any kind of writing that you do at home, make it fun. I mean, I wouldn't say sit at a table and kind of make it laborious. I'd say keep it contextual, keep it in context. Maybe something they're interested in, maybe a book that they've been reading they could write a sentence about. In English this week, we've been looking at the book Peace at Last. And within that, we've been getting the children to look at a picture and to write a sentence to describe one of the pictures. So it doesn't need to be complicated. It could be really simple. And if your child has done a piece of writing that they're proud about and you're impressed with, then do bring it in, because we do have a show and tell. Anything that a child has made at home or any writing that they've done or a piece of maths that they've had a go at, do bring it in. We do show and tell. So that would be great to see.
Another thing for writing ideas, this week we've been doing innovating the story of Peace at Last. So that sort of means changing a character, or you could change the setting. If they've got a favourite story that they really like, perhaps they could innovate it and change the characters in it, change the setting, but based on the original story. So the children have really enjoyed doing that this week.
Yeah.
I think going along with the where it's phonetically plausible. I mean, if they're using a sound which might not be the correct one, but it's still acceptable, as in there, say oo, so that could be an oo or an ew, for instance, same sound, then that's absolutely fine, and we accept that. So I wouldn't push too much for absolutely correct spelling.
So for show and tell, it's not something that we do on set days. It's just if a child has done some writing at home the night before, at the weekend, or they've made something, they can bring it in. But it's got to be something that's quite special and that they've taken a long time and a lot of thought and effort going into it. So not just I've done a picture and I'm bringing it in. It's got to be something that's sort of really special, they've worked really hard on. And we don't have set days or set times for it. It's just as and when they do things.
Yeah. And just to say, please don't allow your child to bring in a toy or a cuddly toy or anything like that to show, because unfortunately with toys and things, if they get left in their bag or if they get left on the table or something, they can go missing, and then we have tears and all kinds of things. So we try to avoid anything to do with bringing in toys or those kinds of things.
Numbots, yes, absolutely. So you can still log in through RM Unify, and on that tile you can still click onto Numbots, and any practice with just simple addition and things like that, it just is obviously a benefit. So please do.
Okay, so if you do have any more questions, we've got one more. Very good question. So at the moment, the senior leadership team have been discussing what we can do. The guidance at the moment says that unfortunately we're not able to have any kind of live performances or any kind of singing. However, we have got a few ideas that we've been discussing and sharing. And all I'd say is watch this space, because there will be something coming out for you to see, and that we'll make sure that you're part of. But yes, I won't say too much because it will give it away. But yeah, there are some things coming your way for Christmas, so don't worry. How do we get a login for Numbots?
Yeah.
Mr. Geedon's just typing a response about the Numbots question.
I'll make it simpler. I can happily write them into their reading records, and it'll be very simple as just logging in through that. Okay. So just write a note in their reading records and let us know if you need it.
Okay. Okay then, everybody, we'll leave it there. If you do have a question, you can still ping it through here. Otherwise, email the office and we'll do our best to send you a reply. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope you have a nice evening, and we look forward to seeing your children or child in the morning. Take care, everybody.